All right, so I'm out in the test garden today. I'm going to go over a couple targets with the Equinox as kind of like a constant, just so you can see how it picks through this iron, and then we'll use the Legend. So why I say picks through this iron is because this is not a clean garden here. There's a lot of iron. You can see an old rock wall back there. There's actually a couple of old cellar holes to the left back there. When you follow the trail down, there was an old mill. There's a lot of history around here that goes back to the 1700s. So all that iron is also in all this ground too. But that's the sites that I hunt. Those are the sites that I hunt. So I just dug holes and planted these in. And the Equinox, I used it as a constant to build this garden because sensitivity like 22 around there will pull these targets out, and maybe I can get an inch or two off the ground just so I know where they're at in case I run these things over with a lawnmower. So we're going to go over to, we'll do a noise cancel first. All right, we're going to go sensitivity, maxed out 25, recovery speed 5, F2 0. All right, so here's an 8-inch silver quarter. Okay, 10-inch walking half. I can get a couple inches off that using definitely a few inches off that. We got a lot of rain. You can see there's not much snow left, so middle of February, that's good for Rhode Island. 8-inch V-nickel. I would say all the emails that I received, I only received a couple that asked which machine, the Legend or the Equinox, was deeper. The majority were on the FerroCheck, so I set up a few iron objects to check that as well too. All right, so here's the Equinox hitting these deep targets. Has a 7-inch silver ring. Has no problem hitting these targets. We're going to go over to the Legend because we don't want to make this an Equinox video. You want to see the Legend. So here's the Legend here. Nice carbon fiber shaft, 11-inch coil. It's definitely a robust machine. We turn it on the power. It's going to go to loading. It fires up there. So we're going to do multi-1 and multi-2 for park mode. We have the sensitivity cranked up. You can see that there. We're going to go into settings. We're going to do a noise cancel. Just go to the very first one and hit the pinpoint button. This will find us the quietest frequency for the EMI that is around, whether it be power lines or home Wi-Fi, etc. All right, so we picked channel 11, and we're going to go back in. We're going to go over to recovery speed. That's 5, set at 5. We'll use that. And the speaker is at 6, so you'll be able to hear how loud it is. And we're going to use multi-1, and we're going to hit the horseshoe button, so we accept everything in. If you hit the horseshoe again, it'll eliminate ground noise. And then there's ferrous, where it'll remove ferrous. And then there's a custom for whatever you would like there. We're going to leave it on all metal, so you can hear everything in the ground. All right, we're maxed out. Here's the 8-inch silver quarter. Screaming on that. I think the production model, which is what I'm holding, has got a little more oomph behind it than the prototype that I had. It's a 10-inch walk and half. Let me go back here to multi-2. Sorry. Let me go over here to multi-2 so you can hear that. So multi-1, now we know that multi-1 is weighted towards high conductors and multi-2 is weighted towards lower conductors. I wouldn't let that stop you because the Equinox is too. I wouldn't, say, whoa, I'm not going to buy that because it's not a real multi-frequency. The Equinox is too. They're weighted. Park 1 and Park 2 is the same. So here's multi, same as the Legend. So here's multi-2 on the 8-inch silver quarter. All right, 10-inch walking half in multi-2. Now we'll go this, let me go back to multi-1, and we'll do a 7-inch silver ring. Multi-2, 7-inch silver ring. We'll go multi-1 on a 8-inch V-nickel. You can hear how it's quieter, right? Because it's deeper. 8 inches on a V-nickel that's pretty deep for over here. And let's see. I'm going to shut up. We can hear it, and then we'll see if it's any louder with multi-2. That's multi-1. Here's multi-2. Yep. Multi-2 is hitting those mid-conductors better. So there's a depth comparison there. I think they're very close to each other still, but further testing, like this is what I got here based on the Equinox at sensitivity 22, 23. and it just rained. So these are actually hitting very, very good. Let's look at FerroCheck. Definitely a lot of questions. How does FerroCheck work? So let's look at that screen now. Let's keep an eye on that screen on these targets. So the 8-inch silver quarter, I'll go back. Since we're looking at silver, I'll go back to multi 1 to give it the best shot of getting a reading on the FerroCheck. Here's multi 1. That's a screaming signal, but we're not getting anything on the FerroCheck. Now, they do have in the manual that the FerroCheck is for shallow targets, so keep that in mind too. I was wondering if the production model would have more depth when it comes to the FerroCheck, to be more like an XY screen where that thing is constantly moving around to tell you a good or bad signal. Also, when we start looking at the FerroCheck, I would keep it in mind that I wouldn't stop that. I would not dig because you're getting some sketchy things on the FerroCheck. So here's a 10-inch walk in half. Same, nothing on the FerroCheck. 8-inch V-nickel. Nothing on the FerroCheck. All right, so I have some iron objects laid out so you can see the FerroCheck, okay? So the very first one is an iron buckle. We're in multi 1 park. All right, so we're definitely bouncing around between ferrous and non-ferrous, and we hear some crackling in there. Turn on it, and it's iron, okay? So it's given a good reading. More testing is going to tell me where the iron bias is set in this machine, because I can be at F26, and on the Equinox, F26 calls these both iron. We all know that F26 you can mask targets, so what we want to find out is how low is the iron bias in this, okay? Because this is a screaming target. You get iron in there, but are you really gonna? I don't know. Maybe it's all gonna depend on the type of hunter you are. If you're gonna turn on every target to find out if it's iron, then you'll know that that's iron. Here is a rusted can lid. This is telling us it's a good signal completely on the non-ferrous side. 1 bar popping up on the ferrous side. And let's turn on it. That's saying it's a good signal. And I have a dime over here. So if I cherry pick this dime, we're still getting the same 1 or 2 bars. I mean, it's a lot higher signal. But keep in mind, you're still going to get some ferrous readings. So if you're a relic hunter, I think that you probably already know this. If you're a relic hunter and you have polluted sites, definitely, don't rely on that, because we're honing in over this dime, and we're getting some of this can, which is a good 8 to 10 inches away. Okay, so those are a couple hotter pieces of iron. Over here, I have a completely rusted can. We'll get a good reading on the FerroCheck on this one. See, we got a bunch of bars on the FerroCheck on this one on the ferrous side. All right. Then we have, what else do I have over here? An iron buckle. So you can see the iron buckle. Fully iron. Awful signal. This way, a very good signal. Now, to be honest, when I'm relic hunting, I don't turn on everything. If I got this signal out in the woods, I would dig that. Pull off. So if you pull off, you got iron. But when you're on a burnt down home site, what if there's a good target right here, or right here, or right here, around it? So you cherry pick. So this way, it's definitely crap. But when you're this way, we get a beautiful signal on the non-ferrous side. So that's definitely something to keep in mind when you get this machine. And a lot of people are not relic hunters. A lot of people are not digging home sites like this. And this has got a fast recovery speed 1 through 10 that you can mess with. And it's got options to play with. The only thing that we don't do is we can't control what this thing is telling us with iron. We have to learn that. We have to learn that for our sites and decide what to dig and what not to dig. Right, because this here, we turn on it, yep, and it's crap, but I'm still not getting anything on the ferrous meter, and I'm like an inch over that thing. Look at that, I'm not getting anything, so it's got to be bigger iron. And then this lid here, rusted lid, is giving us a 20 both ways, all right? And it's impacting what the ferrous meter tells us about this dime. Now, would I stop? Yep. So this way I wouldn't stop. I can hone in on it, but am I going to hear it coming this way? Yep, that way. Yep, I heard it. So you hear it sometimes next to the iron there. And I have my recovery speed at 5. Let's bump it up to 8. Yep, I heard it. So definitely when you get your legend, play with big iron if those are the sites you hunt, and figure out what settings you're going to need to help yourself, that you're not digging horseshoes, ox shoes, if that's the, you know, stuff that you don't want to dig. But there's an example of, I know I've been rambling, but there's an example of the working FerroCheck and what to watch out for in it. And we'll do some more testing with recovery speed next to iron and see how it impacts it compared to the Equinox as well. All right, thanks for watching.